Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. Am I audible? And I'm clear. All right. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Dhanvat Pranams to all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to today's program. So today we're going to be having a very interesting Bhakti Ladder meetup. So I'll tell you what is the topic for today. The topic for today is the discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Mayawadi Sannyasis. Okay, so it's a very interesting topic where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is discussing with the sannyasis of Varanasi, and he explains to them about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness and actually convinces them that Krishna consciousness is the perfect philosophy. All right, so I hope my volume is clear. Hare Krishna. Okay. So Dhanavad pranams to all of you. So let us start with the prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna, everybody, welcome to this program. Let me give you a brief context about this meeting that happened between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Mayawadi Sannyasis. Okay, first of all, let me tell you what is Mayavad and what happens. So let me explain you. So Mayavada is a popular philosophy. It's also called as Advaita. So it is also called as a monism. Monism means the core principle of Mayavada philosophy is that the supreme absolute truth is impersonal, formless, and that the living entity is absolutely identical with the supreme personality of Godhead. So this is the core tenets of the Advaita philosophy or the Mayavadi philosophy. So what happened was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna himself, who appeared 500 years ago. And it so happened that he happened to go to Varanasi. So when he went to Varanasi, so what happened was like he has met the sannyasis who are there. Generally in Varanasi, we see in Kashi, Varanasi also Kashi, we see that all the people are Advaitins there. So they all belong to the Shankaracharya philosophy, the monistic Advaita philosophy. So they all believe that the Supreme Lord is formless. Okay. So that's what happened. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come there. And so here is a discussion that happened between both of them. So that's the interesting part. So we will see what is that discussion that happened between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Mayavadi Sannyasis. So we will be seeing all of that today in great detail. So it's going to be a discussion. It's actually a conversation that happened between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Mayavadi Sannyasis. And how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the philosophy and what was their reaction and whether they got convinced or not, that is what we are going to discuss today. All right. So what happened was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come to Banaras, that is Varanasi. So, and then when he came to Varanasi, what has happened was like there were so many people who were opposing him. There were thousands of followers actually for him. Thousands of followers were going behind Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just like we saw in the drama also here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had lots of thousands of followers. So therefore, people naturally became envious, and especially the Advaitins, they started criticizing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. and they wanted to understand what is the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and why is he behaving in such a way. So let us get into all of that, and so it's going to be really, really interesting. So I would say keep your questions to the end. It will be easier for me to complete the topic, and then you can ask your questions towards the end. Is that okay? Hare Krishna. All right. So let us begin. So this is a very wonderful conversation. I hope you're able to see my screen here. Okay. How many of you are able to see my screen? Type me in the chat. If you're able to see my screen, just type me in the chat. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you're able to see that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeats the Mayawadi Sannyasis in Banaras. That is the topic. So what happened? Let us see. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come, and every time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was being invited by these Mayavadi Sannyasis, Advaitins, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to avoid going to meet them. But one day he decided to discuss with them and defeat them. So he went. So when he went there, first of all, he went and sat in the place where they all washed their feet. So he went and sat at the place where the sannyasis washed their feet. So these sannyasis came and said, "What happened? Why are you sitting there? Just come here." So the head of the sannyasis, Prabodhananda Saraswati, touched Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and brought him up. So, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a discussion with all of them. So what is going to follow is the discussion between both of them. All right. Okay. So the Mayavadi sannyasi said, "Please come here, Your Holiness. Why do you sit in that place? What has caused your lamentation?" They said, "Why are you sitting there? Why don't you just come and sit with us?" And the sannyasi said that, "I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya and you are a disciple of Sri Keshava Bharati and you're therefore very glorious." See, the thing is, Sri Keshava Bharati is actually Advaitin. He's a Mayavadi. He was actually a devotee, but he is belonging to the Advaita Sannyasa line. So he's Mayavadi Sannyasi line. So he's belonging to the Keshava Bharati line. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be Sri Krishna Chaitanya Bharati. So there are different disciplic successions in the Advaita line. So one is like the Bharati and one is Saraswati, like that. Okay, Bharati, Saraswati is considered to be better than Bharati. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas from Bharati school. Saraswati was considered a little bit more advanced than Bharati. So the Mayavadi sannyasi who was there, he said, "You look very glorious. You are actually very great because you already took sannyas under the Shankara Sampradaya, under Sri Keshava Bharati. But you belong to our Sampradaya and you live in our village Varanasi also. But then I don't understand why you don't come with us and talk to us, and you even avoid seeing us when we have called you, invited you for lunch a lot of times, but you never came and met us. So we don't understand why you do that. So, and please come here. Why are you sitting in that place? Please come here." And then what happened? Let's just see that. Okay, sorry, what am I doing? Yeah. And then now here is the important question that they ask. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to be always be engaged in chanting of the holy names of Krishna. He was always dancing. He was always chanting the holy names of Krishna and singing the holy names of Krishna. He was dancing in ecstasy. And thousands of people used to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all the day long, he was chanting the names of Krishna. And he used to be immersed in the ecstasy of chanting. And sometimes he used to become unconscious. And he used to get so many symptoms, like the 8 transcendental symptoms, like perspiration, crying, and hair standing on the end, etc. And used to be very much completely absorbed in the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and dancing, singing, and only thinking about Radha Krishna. That's it. So naturally, these Mayavadi sannyasis had a doubt. They asked a question. So you are a sannyasi, then why do you indulge in chanting and dancing and engaging in Sankirtana movement in the company of fanatics? So the thing is, you see, sannyasi means generally they avoid singing and dancing, right? So they don't sing or they don't dance. Singing and dancing is for normal people. It's not for sannyasis. But then we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always singing, always dancing. And then these people who are around him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they almost behave like fanatics because they don't understand what is day, what is night, and they're like completely absorbed in the chanting of Krishna. They don't understand anything else. So they're completely lost. So why are you with them? Why are these fanatic people you are there? And why are you dancing and singing being a sannyasi? You see, the sannyasis are supposed to be meditating and study the Vedanta. You see, meditation and the study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon to dance with these fanatics? That was the question. So the sannyasis are supposed to be doing what? They're supposed to be doing meditation, right? We see all the sannyasis, what do? They do meditation and then they read the Upanishads, right? So these are the duties of a sannyasi, but then why are you abandoning all of these and then dancing with these people is what's the question. So then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to answer them. He said, my dear sirs, I actually belong to a lower order of sannyas. Therefore, I don't deserve to sit with you. You have asked me to sit along with you, beside you, but I think that I'm not qualified to sit beside you. The reason is, I belong to the Bharati clan and you are Prabhupada Saraswati. Prabhupada Saraswati. Saraswati is better than Bharati, so therefore I cannot sit beside you. I'm a lower order sannyasi. I'm sorry, I cannot sit with you. And then he said, okay, that's fine. But you look as brilliant as if you are Narayana himself. So can you explain what is the reason that you have adapted the behavior of lower class people? So actually singing and dancing is considered to be the behavior of lower class people. So especially the sannyasis and the brahmanas, they are forbidden from singing and dancing. So as per the Shastras. So then he says, okay, you look like Narayana, but just explain to us, why do you do this kind of activity, singing and dancing and things like that? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to answer. He said, kindly hear the reason. The reason is that my spiritual master considered me to be a fool. Therefore, he chastised me. So who is the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Narayana.
Yeah?
Keshav Bharti.
Yeah, Keshav Bharti and Ishwarapuri. Ishwarapuri. Here he is referring to Ishwarapuri. Ishwarapuri is his spiritual master. So Ishwarapuri was a spiritual master. And then he is referring to the Ishwarapuri. Okay, just... Are you able to hear me? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, can you hear me? Yeah. All right. So what happened was, like he said, you see, my spiritual master said this, that you are a fool. And he said, you don't need to read all of this Vedanta Sutras, Vedanta and Upanishads and meditation. This does not suit you. Okay. He said that you're a fool. And he said, you're not qualified to study the Vedanta Sutras, Vedanta philosophies. Therefore, you must always chant the holy names of Krishna. This is the essence of all the mantras or the Vedic hymns. Simply by chanting the names of Krishna, one can become liberated. And that is the essence of all the Shastras, all the Vedas, all the mantras. Don't do anything other than just chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So that was the instruction given by my spiritual master. Actually, it's very surprising because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also called as Nimai Pandit. Okay, Nimai Pandit. So the reason why he was called Nimai Pandit is because he had defeated great Pandits like Keshav Kashmiri, who was like a Digvijaya Pandit. Digvijaya Pandit means somebody who has never been defeated before. So he has defeated some great scholars like that. Okay. So then what happened? So he defeated so many scholars like Keshav Kashmiri, etc. And then what happened was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so powerful. He was so logical. He was so good at Sanskrit and debate. And he was extraordinary in that, actually. Nobody could defeat him. And all of these people knew that. So they were very surprised when he said that, I'm a fool, number one. I don't understand all of this. You see, Vedanta Sutra, all of that. That's why my spiritual master said, don't read the Vedanta Sutra. So the instruction that we have to hear, the understand here is that in Kali Yuga, people are very, very less intelligent. Okay. It says that Prayena Alpaisha Sabhya Kalavasmin Yuge Janaha Mandasu Mandamatayo Mandabhagya hi Upadrutaha. That means the Kali Yuga people are, first of all, they're foolish and they have very less duration of life, right? Prayena alpayusha sabhya manda sumanda matayo. They're very, very stupid. They don't understand philosophy at all. So if you tell them that this is God, they will accept. If you say that I am God, they will accept. If you say that he is God, they will accept. They're so stupid, actually. So therefore, it is said that Kali Yuga people are very, very less intelligent. They're not suitable for reading this philosophy of Vedas, Vedanta, etc. So he's telling it to us, not for himself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling to them and to all of us, the living entities, that don't try to be very intelligent. You won't understand the Vedas. They're very, very deep. That, you just read some textbooks and you will understand the absolute truth. It is not possible. Then he says, the proper process for understanding the absolute truth is, simply by chanting the holy names of Krishna, one can obtain the freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is the process. The process is not by reading some textbooks or trying to make up some kind of theory about God. That, okay, I've read a couple of scriptures here. Here it is said like this. Here it is said, okay, let me use my logic and tell that, okay, here is the absolute truth. It is not possible. So the actual process of getting liberated is to chant the names of Krishna. And then that is the only way you will be able to see the lotus feet of Lord. In this age of Kali, there is no religious principle other than chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of the Vedic hymns. This is the purport of all scriptures. So he is telling about the instructions given by his spiritual master, that there is no dharma other than chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or the names of Krishna. There is no other religious principle for Kali Yuga. That is the only religious principle that is available. That is given in all the Vedic hymns also. This is the purport of all the Vedas. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Yajnanam Japayajñoshmi Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dhrudavratah. Right? Krishna said, always think about me, always glorify me. Right? So the purport is this. And he said, for the spiritual progress in the age of Kali, there is no alternative, there is no alternative, there is no alternative to the holy name, to the holy name, to the holy name. So there's a verse that says that Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyatha. So there is no alternative, there is no alternative, there is no alternative. It's been said 3 times. So tell me something. When do you say something 3 times? What does it mean when we say something 3 times? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
It's like emphasizing, and it is very, very urgent, important.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like, when you want to emphasize something very, very strongly, it's like you say order, order, order. So Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So when you say something thrice, that means that, we want to like emphasize it very strongly. So Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Iva Kevalam. Kevalam also is word used. The word Kevalam means only, there is no other alternative. And it has been said 3 times, Harinama itself. Kalau means in Kali Yuga. We are in Kali Yuga. Nastieva, Nastieva, Nastieva Gatiranyatha. Nasti means there is no other Gati. Nastieva Gatiranyatha. There is no other alternative at all for any kind of religious principle. The only thing that is there, religious principle, is chanting the holy names of Krishna. So the answer is, so the Mayawadi Sannyasis, the Advaitis, they were asking, why are you not doing the meditation on the impersonal Brahman? Why are you not reading the Vedanta Sutras, Brahma Sutra Bhashya, that is Sharirika Bhashya? Why are you not reading the Upanishads, the 11 Upanishads? Why are you not meditating on the 4 Mahavakyas? Why are you chanting the holy names of Krishna all the time? Here is the answer. The answer is, in Kali Yuga, there is no other alternative to chanting the holy names of Krishna, and this is the only religious principle that is there. While chanting the holy names of the Lord, I lose myself, and thus I laugh, cry, dance, and sing just like a madman. So he's now saying his position that, when I chant the holy names of Krishna, I become so absorbed in remembering Krishna. I get so absorbed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes so absorbed in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna that he completely loses himself. And, sometimes he's laughing, sometimes he's crying, sometimes he's dancing. Sometimes he's rolling on the floor. He's just like singing like a madman. It's almost like a madman. He's behaving like a madman. Right? So then I saw that I had become mad by chanting the holy name. And I immediately submitted this at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. So what happened was like he became completely mad. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became mad. So what happened? I'll tell you what happened. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went, he was, first of all, he was Nimai Pandit. Before he took sannyas, his name was Nimai Pandit. And he was from the Nadia district of Navadvip Dham, Nadia district, Navadvip city. So then what happened was he went for doing the oblations for his father. His father had passed away. So he went to Gaya for performing oblations. So Gaya people go, Hindus go for what? For performing oblations to the forefathers. So for his father, for performing oblations, he went to Gaya. So at that point of time, he happened to meet Ishwarapuri. And when he met Ishwarapuri, he took shelter of Ishwarapuri and he took initiation under Ishwarapuri. And that time Ishwarapuri said that you are not a very intelligent person. You don't read any kind of Vedanta. You just chant the names of Krishna all the time. So he took that instruction to his heart and he was always chanting the names of Krishna. And Nimai Pandita, who was a very scholarly person, very strong person, was very difficult to be defeated. He now became a devotee. And he became a devotee, and he didn't, the way he came back to Navadvip from Gaya was he did not understand what was day and what was night. He was chanting and he became ecstatic. So that's when he goes back to his spiritual master and says, my dear Lord, what is this mantra? What have you given me? What is happening to me? I became mad. I'm becoming mad here. My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I became mad simply by chanting this Maha mantra. I'm becoming mad. Is this some kind of madness mantra? What's wrong with this mantra? Chanting the holy name in ecstasy causes me to dance, laugh, and cry. And when my spiritual master heard this, he smiled. So his spiritual master was very pleased. So that means you're chanting properly. So if you're getting the ecstatic symptoms, if you're crying when you're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha mantra, that means you're chanting properly. That means it's like Shuddha Nama, pure chanting. Otherwise, if we do offensive chanting, we don't get any kind of ecstatic symptoms. So he says, his spiritual master said, it is the nature of the Hare Krishna Maha mantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna. So that is the nature of this Hare Krishna Maha mantra, which consists of 16 syllables. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The three words Hare, Krishna and Rama. Hare means the internal potency of the Lord. Krishna means the all-attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rama means the potency of enjoyment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is a prayer to the internal potency. Oh, my dear Lord Krishna. Oh, Radharani, please make me servant of Krishna. So that is the prayer. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deeply chanted that prayer perfectly, very sincerely. Therefore, he was able to absorb himself in the loving ecstasy for Krishna. So therefore, he continued, his spiritual master continued and said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you see, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are known as the four goals of the life. What are the four goals of the life? Purushartha, Chaturvida Purushartha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But the fifth goal is bhakti, is the highest goal. Actually, in front of bhakti, all of this dharma, that is religious principle, trying to be a religious person, artha, economic development, trying to become very rich, kama, gratifying the senses to the maximum possible extent, and moksha, impersonal liberation, all of them are insignificant like a straw in the street. That is the bhakti, he said. The conclusion of all the revealed scriptures is that one should awaken his dormant love of Godhead. You are greatly fortunate to have done so. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master, Ishwarapuri, is actually praising Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you are very, very fortunate. The reason you are very fortunate is that you have got the love of Godhead. You have been able to awaken the love of Godhead. You see, the thing that we are trying to do, why are we chanting? Why are we chanting 16 rounds? The reason why we are chanting 16 rounds, I'll tell you. You see, one name of the Lord is enough for liberating us. Even if you chant one name, that is enough for liberation. You see, if you're chanting with Nama Abhasa, there are three types of chanting: Nama Aparadha, Nama Abhasa, and Shuddha Nama. Nama Aparadha means offensive chanting. Offensive chanting will only result in happiness or distress in the material world. It doesn't give us anything spiritual. Or Nama Abhasa, that is Nama Aparadha stage. So if you keep on chanting Nama in the Nama Aparadha stage, one day you will come to chant in a Nama Abhasa stage. That means you will improve. From Nama Aparadha, you will come to the Nama Abhasa stage, which is like a just like a rising of a sun. So at the time of sunrise, it's a little bit of light is there. It's not like a midday sun. But Shuddha Nama is like the midday noon sun. It's like complete light, right? Completely illuminated with light. So Shuddha Nama is what we are supposed to be chanting. So that is very important. So the thing is, even if you chant in Nama Abhasa also, people get liberation. So just like how Ajamila got liberated, he was not doing Shuddha Nama, nor he was doing Nama Aparadha, he was chanting Nama Abhasa. He did not know. Inoffensively, he chanted. Without any offenses, he chanted. That's it. Shuddha Nama is beyond that. Okay, completely inoffensive chanting. So that's very important. So then he said, the conclusion of the revealed scriptures is that one should awaken his dormant love of Godhead, and you're greatly fortunate to have done so. So he's praising Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, said that, you're very, very lucky because now you have got the love of Godhead. So when you chant Shuddha Nama, you get love of Godhead. So our idea is we don't want liberation. We want to get the love of Godhead. So to get the love of Godhead, you should be chanting pure chanting, you see. So when one actually develops the love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes chants, and sometimes runs here and there just like a madman. So a person, when he, who's in a love of Godhead, he almost like behaves like a mad person. So it's difficult for us to understand. But actually, these are the symptoms. The symptoms is the person who is in the love of Godhead, he cries, he laughs, and then sometimes he's running here and there like a madman. Okay. So when a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who's very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name, and also laughs, cries, and becomes agitated, and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Okay. So he's saying that when you chant like this, what happens is they start to laugh, cry, become agitated, and chants like a madman, and he doesn't care for outsiders. So this is actually a shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is a discussion of the Navayogendras and the Nimi Maharaj. There was a great king called Nimi Maharaj. This comes, I think, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So what happens is the Nimi Maharaj asks a question to the Navayogendras about the pure devotional service, about Krishna consciousness. And the Navayogendras, one of the Navayogendras explained this, that, how we are supposed to chant. So a lot of people ask sometimes, why do people dance in ISKCON? The reason is this. The reason why we dance is because of this shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is said that this is how we are supposed to dance. We are supposed to be dancing in front of the Lord because it's a spiritual activity. When a person is actually advanced, he becomes agitated and loudly chants the holy name. And he dances like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance ecstatically in front of the deities. Wherever he went to the South India for a tour. And wherever he went in front of the deities, he used to dance like a mad person. He never used to care for outsiders. So then he continues to say that compared to the ocean of transcendental bliss that one derives by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the pleasure derived from the impersonal Brahman realization is like shallow water in a canal. So there is Brahmananda and there is Premananda. There are three types of Ananda. So first of all, first Ananda is called as Jada Ananda. Jada Ananda means the happiness that we get out of the material world. It is said that the highest pleasure that we get out of the material world is sex pleasure. So that is called as Jada Ananda. Okay. So beyond that is Brahma Ananda. That is the happiness that is derived from the impersonal Brahman. Impersonal Brahman realization people get Brahma Ananda. So that is the jnanis, when they merge themselves in the impersonal Brahman, when they are meditating, they experience certain kind of happiness. So that happiness is called Brahma Ananda. And there is something beyond the Brahmananda, that is Premananda. So Premananda, if you compare Brahmananda with Premananda, that is when you're chanting the holy names of Krishna, when you're in Prema, the happiness that is derived by the gopis of the Vrindavan Vasis, by Radharani, is unlimitedly more than Brahmananda. Brahmananda is nothing in front of Premananda. It is just like a small hoof print. If you take a calf, if it is walking on a muddy pond, muddy water, whatever water is collected in the hoof print of a calf is so small in front of an ocean. The ocean is the Premananda, Krishna consciousness. Brahmananda is nothing in front of it. So then he says, then the Mayawadi sannyasis say, okay, dear sir, we don't have any objection of you being a great devotee of the Lord of Krishna. Everybody is satisfied with that. But can you tell us, why do you avoid discussion on Vedanta Sutra? What is the problem with the Vedanta Sutra? Now, let me tell you about this. So, the followers of Shankaracharya are also called as Advaitins, and their philosophy is also called as Mayavada. Okay, it's a Smarta Sampradaya. So, they read a commentary written by Shankaracharya, which is also called as Sharirika Bhashya. It's called Sharirika Bhashya. So that is one of the commentaries which is written by Shankaracharya. So there are multiple commentaries which are written. First of all, let me tell you about Vedanta Sutra. What is Vedanta Sutra? So first of all, there are 14 types of literature in the Vedas. Okay. First of all, there are 4 Vedas, right? We know the 4 Vedas, right? Samaveda, Yajurveda, Rigveda, and Atharva Veda. And then there are 6 Upa Angas. So there are some extra Upangas like Jyotishya, Nirukti, etc. So there are 6 Upangas, so totally 10. And then there is something called as the Itihasa. There is something called as the Purana, right? And there is Vedanta Sutra. Okay, Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta Sutra is like the 14th element, 14th type of Vedic literature. So Krishna says, Vidyanam Adhyatma Vidyaham. He says, among the knowledge, I am the Adhyatmika knowledge. Is referring to the Vedanta Sutras. Krishna even refers to the Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutras in the 13th chapter. He says that, if you want more information, you can refer to the Brahma Sutras. He refers to that in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that I am the Vedanta Sutras in the Vedas. He says, among the Vedas, I am Samaveda, but among all the Vedas, among all the Vedic literature, I am the Vedanta Sutra. Right? So the Vedanta Sutra is the most sacred knowledge because it is like aphorisms written by Vyasdev. Vyasdev is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has written this Vedanta Sutra, which is like the most acclaimed work. So which is like the complete conclusion about the absolute truth. So that is Vedanta Sutra, and multiple scholars have written a lot of commentaries on it. So one of the popular commentaries is the Sharirika Bhashya written by Sripad Shankaracharya. So the followers of Shankaracharya, especially the sannyasis, they read this Sharirika Bhashya, that Vedanta Sutra. So now the question by this Mayawadi sannyasis to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, why don't you read that? Why don't you read the Sharirika Bhashya, which is written by Shankaracharya, which is his magnus opus, which is like a very wonderful, critically acclaimed work. It's a very wonderful book. Why are you not reading that? What's wrong? What's fault with that? We understand that you're chanting Hare Krishna. It's fine. I understand everything. But why are you not reading Vedanta Sutras? Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu answers it. He says, the Vedanta philosophy consists of the words spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana in the form of Vyasadeva. So Vedanta Sutra is not a joke. Vedanta is the topmost spiritual knowledge, which is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana in the form of Vyasadeva. So Lord Narayana has written this Vedanta Sutra. It's not a normal literature. It is extraordinary. It is beyond anybody. Any saintly person cannot claim that this is mine or my commentary is better than Vyasadeva itself. Nobody can claim that I am better than Vyasadeva, that I have written a commentary and now it is better than Vyasadeva. Nobody can say that. So now he is continuing to say, the material defects of mistakes, illusion, cheating, and sensory inefficiency do not exist in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are 4 defects. Human beings have 4 defects. That is, we have problem with our senses. That is, we have, first of all, our senses are wrong. Means our senses do not properly function. That means if I remove my spectacles, I won't be able to see for a long distance. That is my sense problem. So like that, every human being has a sensory limitation. Second thing is, every human being has a cheating propensity. Cheating propensity means falsely they want to declare something. For example, in the form of advertising, how the cheating happens, right? So there's a lot of cheating that happens in advertising, isn't it? So for example, we see that there are two, the IIT JEE is institutions, training institution. What they do, they put the same photo, both the institute will put the same photo. Another institute also will put the same photo. First rank, first rank, first rank. Everybody say we are the first. Right? Complan, Horlicks, they say if you give Complan drink to your children, they will grow 2 times more than others. So as if these people have grown to 10 feet, when everybody is 5.5 feet, those who drink Complan, they will become 11 feet. So this is called cheating propensity. So this is another defect. Right? Another thing is we go to illusion. Illusion. That means we get illusion. We can get into illusion. So for example, just like how Arjuna went into illusion, that when he saw all his all his relatives in front of him, he said, I will not fight. So he went into illusion. So that is one kind of a fault. And the fourth one is mistake, tendency to do mistakes. So we commit mistakes. That's the reason why we have exams. So if human beings are not committing any kind of mistakes, then everybody should have got 100 out of 100 in 10th board exam, 12th board exam. Then why didn't we not get 100 out of 100? Always there is some mistake. Every human being does a mistake. It's not that Albert Einstein was 100 out of 100 in all his subjects. Even who is this? Ramanujam, Srinivas Ramanujam, also great mathematician. It's not that he got 100 out of 100 in all subjects. He also commits mistakes. Every human being commits mistakes. So these are the 4 defects of human beings. But Vyasadeva does not commit mistakes. So Lord Narayana does not commit mistake. He is Achyuta. When he has written the Vedanta Sutra, it is pakka. It is as it is. It's 100% correct. So, but then the problem with this Sharirika Bhashya is Sripad Shankaracharya has described all the Vedic literature in terms of indirect meaning. And one who hears such explanation is ruined. So what happens is that Shankaracharya has written Sharirika Bhashya. He's written the commentary on all the principal Upanishads. He's written a commentary on Bhagavad Gita as well. But then he has written an indirect meaning. So the way he gives an indirect meaning always to bring to his philosophy that, Lord is formless. Krishna is formless. He wants to prove. And he wants to prove that Jnanis are the best. He wants to prove. For example, I'll tell you for the commentary on Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Masucha. That is the 18.66, the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. Shankaracharya has written commentary in that, saying that, actually Arjuna is not fit for receiving this knowledge by Krishna because he was a Kshatriya. But simply Krishna is using Arjuna as an instrument to teach to the Brahmanas. But actually Arjuna is not fit. But then same thing, in the disciplic succession of Shankaracharya, there was another great personality who had come. I don't recollect his name, but he wrote commentary correcting his own Acharya, saying that no, Shankaracharya is wrong here, because if Arjuna did not have qualification to hear Bhagavad Gita, then why would Krishna say Bhaktosi me saka cheti rahasyam etad uttamam? Krishna said multiple times that you are eligible for receiving this knowledge. Right? So, and also like Shankaracharya writes in the commentary that, actually Arjuna is not fit for taking sannyasa. The meaning of Sarvadharman Parityaja is to take sannyasa. Sannyasa ashrama is the greatest. So his own disciple, after a couple of generations, corrects him and says, no, that's not the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is not that Arjuna is not eligible for sannyasa ashrama. It is not at all like that. What Lord Krishna is trying to say is, give up all kinds of religious principles, including sannyasa, and become a pure devotee and surrender unto me. So this is the, for example, this is the kind of indirect explanation. Just one example. Indirect explanations to prove the point. He has very heavily used a lot of word jugglery to write all the literature in such a way, in such a strong way, that anybody who reads it will completely lose faith in Krishna and devotional service. And they will only think that, yes, we are absolutely equal with the absolute truth. So he continues and says, you see, the problem is not with Shankaracharya. because it is the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that he has covered the real purport of the Vedas. So it is actually not the problem of Shankaracharya. Now, why Shankaracharya has given this Mayavada philosophy, which says that it's absolute equality between the living entity and the absolute truth, Krishna, is not because of him. It is not Shankaracharya's will that he has given it. It is because of the will of Krishna all of this has happened. Because nothing happens without the will of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, it is said that not even a blade of grass can move without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It seems that Lord Vishnu had actually requested Lord Shiva to take an incarnation and to confuse the people with a heretic philosophy, which is a covered Buddhist philosophy, to confuse people to say that the Supreme Lord is equal to the living entity. So that was a instruction actually given by Lord Vishnu. And why did Lord Vishnu give such an instruction? Lord Vishnu can give any kind of instruction. Is the absolute truth. He came in the form of Buddha, and he said that the Vedas are trash. He said that there is no God. So Vishnu can do anything. So it was by the will of Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, Lord Krishna, that he wanted that Kali Yuga things should be covered. It's not open. It's not like direct. It's like very simple. Right? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjana. It is so simple formula. Just simply meditate upon the pastimes of Krishna and chant the names of Krishna and go back to God. It's such a simple formula. If it is so easy in Kali Yuga, then everybody will come. It's not allowed like that. So Kali Yuga question paper becomes very tough. Therefore, it was by the will of Lord Vishnu that Shankaracharya had to write such an explanation which confuses people. And then he goes on to say that according to the direct understanding, the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has the supreme opulences, spiritual opulences. Nobody can be equal to him or greater than him. So the Upanishad says that Tamishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram. That means he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is also called as Asamordva. Eko Bahunam Vidadati Kaman. That means there is one singular who is maintaining the plural, just like there is one moon and there are infinite stars. The moon cannot be equated to the stars because moon is very bright, much brighter than all of the stars put together. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only one, and he is maintaining every living entity. And how is it possible that you can equate a star with the sun, right? How is it possible that you can say that the living entity, the living entity, for example, if you just think about ourselves, see, without even going to the office or to a job or doing some business, we can't even eat our food. And when our digestive fire is not working, we can't even digest our own food. When our lungs are not working, we need a ventilator. How can we say that we are equal to the absolute personality of Godhead? So this is completely delusion. So he says nobody is equal to Krishna or even greater than him or equal to him. He's Asamurtva. Everything about the Supreme Personality of Godhead is spiritual, including his body, opulence, paraphernalia. Krishna is so completely spiritual. But the Mayavada philosophy covers his spiritual opulence, advocating the theory of impersonalism. So the impersonal philosophy says the opposite. It's like, in Prabhupada's words, he says that just like if you put the shoes on the hat and hat on the shoes, hat at the feet, it's like that. You're making completely, you're turning the whole thing upside down. The model is like this, and you're completely turning it upside down. And that's like he made a complete mixie of the philosophy. I'll explain you what Srila Prabhupada said this. He said, just by, for example, if let us say that there is a woman who is wearing a jeans pant or dress of a man, doesn't mean that she becomes a man. So the reason he says that is because Krishna is the only masculine. He's the only masculine male person is Krishna. He is Purusha, Purushottama. He is the only enjoyer. So just because we people are a little bit Ishvara we have become, that means we have become husband of a family, or maybe let us say we become CEO of a company, doesn't mean that we have become Krishna. So nobody can equal to just by wearing a dress, a female cannot become male. Similarly, just because you're saying that, a human being is equal to Krishna is like that, Because the original enjoyer, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sugridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatva Mam Shanti Mrichati. Krishna is present in the heart of every living entity. We are not present in the heart of every living entity. Krishna has got its hands and legs and eyes everywhere. We do not have. And our consciousness is limited to one body. Krishna is super consciousness. We are under the control of Maya, three modes of material nature. Krishna is the Maya Adhisha. He is the controller of the three modes of material nature. So it is like saying that Acharya say that, it is almost like comparing an impotent person with a potent person. It is like that. So it is like that. Completely, you're comparing a non-living thing with a living thing. So when you try to say that Krishna is equal to living entity, is like absolutely absurd, completely absurd. Just like there's some people who say that I am God. So some people who have taken this philosophy to another extent, this Advaita philosophy, Mayawadi philosophy, and they start to declare that I am God, just because the philosophy itself is saying that, yeah, you are equal to God. So they start to claim that, yes, I am God. I have realized this. So Srila Prabhupada says that, these kind of people, first of all, what is their level? So what is it that we can say? If anybody says that, we should actually put a shoe on them. Should throw a shoe on them. If somebody says that, I am the God, I am God. So there was one story when, there was one person who said, he sat in front of Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, I feel that I am God. Then Prabhupada, he just was very angry. He was like very calmly, he thought, he just said, today, I feel like throwing a shoe on you, Prabhupada said. So like that. So there was one more Swamiji who said, I am God. I'm equal to God. Then Prabhupada said, okay, wonderful. We did not know all these days, unfortunately, and we are unnecessarily worshipping Krishna. Okay, now we understood that you are God. Please come, let him come in. Okay, they brought him inside. They started feeding him very nicely. Lot of food. And ultimately, he wanted to use the washroom. He said, where is the washroom? They said, no, sir, please sit down. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need the washroom. And he said, please, let me go to the washroom. And he said to his disciples, don't let him go anywhere. He said, please, let me go to the washroom. You are the absolute truth. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why do you need a washroom? You don't need a washroom. So this is the philosophy, right? So this is completely trash. I mean, a lot of people have actually misused it to some other extent only. Now, that's why Prabhupada says, if somebody comes and says, I am God, ask them to show the Vishwarupa. Krishna can show Vishwarupa. Can any living entity show universal form? Anybody can show universal. Krishna can lift the Govardhanagiri. Can anybody lift Govardhanagiri? Krishna married 16,108 wives and he stayed with them at the same time and he satisfied all of them. Is it possible? Krishna danced with 100 crore gopis and he extended that night of Rasalila for one night of Brahma. That is 430 crore years. Can any human being do that? So what kind of philosophy is this? Is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Right? So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely spiritual, is Satchit Ananda. And the living entity is a conditioned living entity, is a Baddha Jiva. Where is the Supreme Lord who is the source of Nitya Baddhas and Nitya Siddhas also? And where is this Nitya Baddha conditioned living entity is claiming himself equal to the Lord? So this is completely trash. Then he says the Supreme Personality of Godhead is full of spiritual potencies. Therefore, his body, name, fame, entourage are all spiritual. The Mayawadi philosopher, due to ignorance, says that they are all merely transformations of the material mode of goodness. You see, simply by the chanting the holy names of Krishna, simply by chanting the holy names of Krishna, we can go back to Godhead. Is it possible that we chant the names of any living entity and go back to Godhead? And the form of Krishna is spiritual. It is not that somebody has created, just like Leonardo da Vinci created a Mona Lisa painting. Nobody has created Krishna's form. It is Krishna's original form. By meditating upon that Krishna's original form, all the mode of passion and mode of ignorance is gone out of us. So that is the original form upon which all the yogis always meditate upon. Right? So that is the wonderful form of Krishna. And how can you say that there is no form? Or how can you say that it is made up of mode of goodness? So they said that Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. So the philosophy of the Mayavad philosophy says that originally the Supreme Lord is Nirguna, impersonal. And then he combined with the three modes of material nature, Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun, and is become Vishnu and Shiva and Brahma. So Sattvaguna is Vishnu, Rajoguna is Brahma, Tamoguna is Lord Shiva. Yes, even Srimad Bhagavatam is saying that, but then it doesn't say the impersonal Brahman. It says that Lord Krishna His qualitative incarnations in combination with the Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun are Vishnu, Brahma, and Lord Shiva. So the three Guna avatars, the source of them is Lord Krishna, right? And then Krishna is Nirguna for sure, but that Nirguna doesn't mean that he does not have any kind of guna. It only means that he is free from the material modes of nature. If we say that you do not have any habits, it doesn't mean that you don't have any kind of habits. It means that you do not have bad habits. Similarly, wherever the Shastra says Nirguna, where Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says that I am Nirguna, it means that he is free from any kind of modes of material nature. He is Satchidananda. He is full of potency. He is full of Kalyana Guna. He is full of spiritual qualities. If Krishna is not having qualities, then who else has any kind of quality? Krishna is full of qualities. It's not one or two. It's not Sattva-guna. Krishna is Nirguna. So that's the fault of the Mayavad philosophy. And then he says, Shankaracharya, who is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, is faultless because he is a servant carrying out the orders of the Lord. But those who follow his Mayavadi philosophy are doomed. They will lose all their advancement in spiritual knowledge. See, Shankaracharya is not at all at fault because he is Lord Shiva himself. Lord Shiva has taken incarnation upon the instruction of Lord Vishnu. In the Padma Purana, we see a conversation between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, where Lord Vishnu will tell to Lord Shiva to take an incarnation in Kali Yuga to give this Prachanna Bauddha. That means hidden Buddhism. So that is like Buddhism says openly, there is no God. Vedas, there's nothing. There's no God. That is open declaration, Buddhism. This is Prachanna Bauddha. That means indirectly, the Mayavadis, they say, no, God is there, but this God does not have legs. Okay. This God does not have hands. Okay. This God does not have eyes. This God does not have a body. Then why don't you just directly say that God is not there? So then, no, they're still there, but no body, no face, no eyes, nothing. Then where is the God? So it is a Prachanna Bauddha. That means Buddhism repackaged in Hinduism flavor, in the Sanatana Dharma flavor and presented is actually Mayavad. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So, but the problem is anybody who follows the Mayavadi philosophy are completely doomed. They will lose their spiritual advancement because Mayavadi Krishna Aparadi. That means anybody who says that Krishna is formless is actually an offender towards Lord Krishna. It's like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that anybody who says that Krishna does not have a form is actually beating me with a stick. It is as good as taking a stick and beating me. It is so painful for me when I hear that. So it's a pure offense toward the Lord to say that, Lord does not have a form. So then what he says, one who considers the transcendental body of Lord Vishnu to be made of material nature is the greatest offender at the lotus feet of the Lord. There is no greater blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You see, what is the greatest insult that you can do to a great personality? What is the worst kind of a scolding that you can talk to anybody? So for example, if their parents are there, okay, so what is the kind of worst kind of scolding that we can tell them? If you say that you are nothing, your role in my life is nothing. If you say that, there cannot be anything worse than that. Am I right? So similarly, if we say that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is everything, he's pervading everywhere, he's present as the Supreme Personality, he's present as a super soul within the heart of every living entity. He's a digestive fire inside the stomach. He's causing our involuntary actions, breathing also. And who is the Suhrudam Sarvabhuteshu, who is coming as a friend and living for every living entity, for every birth. If you say that you are nothing, you are not there, there cannot be anything worst offense than that. Just to say that, you are not existing or your form is not present. So it's like the worst kind of offense. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. And then the Lord is like a blazing fire and the living entities are like a small spark of the fire. Yes, there is Achintya Bheda Abheda. That means the relationship between Krishna and the living entities has been explained by Krishna himself. In Bhagavad Gita, he said, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Bhuto Jiva Loka Sanatanaha. That means he said that, every living entity is a spark, is an Amsha, Mamaiva Amsha. Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Every living entity is a spark, is actually a part and parcel of me. Krishna has said that. But nowhere he said that living entities are equal to me. Nor Krishna concluded in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna saying that you are equal to me. You just have to realize that you are me and I am you, and you just become Krishna. This is completely heretic philosophy. It's complete trash, let me tell you. So this is a completely wrong. Actually, it's the opposite. Ultimately, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. He says, you are the Parabrahman. I am your eternal servant, and kindly excuse me if I have done any kind of offenses towards you. Please tell me, Karishyat Vachanam Tava, whatever you say, I shall perform, because you are the Supreme Lord. So that is the conclusion of Arjuna. But the heretic philosophy of Mayavada concludes the opposite. It just completely inverts the whole knowledge and says that the Supreme Lord is equal to the living entity, but it is not. Just like a fire, it's like Krishna is like a gold mine. We are like a small golden ornament. An ornament cannot equal to the golden mine. The quality can be the same. Similarly, Krishna is like an ocean. We are like a drop. A drop can never be equal to the ocean in quantity. Qualitatively, yes, it's achintya beda abeda. Qualitatively, we are one, not quantitatively. And he says the living entities are the energies, not the energetic. The energetic is Krishna. This is described clearly in Bhagavad Gita, the Vishnu Purana, and the Vedic literatures. So Krishna says that, in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, he says that Bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahamkara iti yame bhinna prakritirashtada. All the 5 material elements and the mind, intelligence, and false ego are my external nature. And then he says that aparam, there is something better than that, which is jiva bhutaha. That means the living entity energy, jiva energy, is superior to the material energy that is also coming from me. So from Krishna is the jiva energy coming, and the external energy, nature energy, matter nature also coming. But then the Mayavada philosophy is equating this Tatastha Shakti to Krishna, Shaktiman. There's a difference between Shaktiman and Shakti. Shakti means energy. Krishna is Shaktiman. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. He's got infinite energy. How can you take one energy of Krishna and say this is equal to the energetic? That's completely wrong. That's wrong. That's not right. And he says, besides these energies, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine which comprises of the living entities who are exploiting the nature of the material inferior nature. So that's what he's saying. The potency of Lord Vishnu is summarized in 3 categories: spiritual energy, living entity, and ignorance. That is, living entity are Tatastha Shakti, and there is a material nature and the spiritual energy, which is the Jiva Shakti. And we are Tatastha. The Mayavada philosophy is so degraded that it has taken the insignificant living entity to be the Lord, the supreme truth, and thus covering the glory and the supremacy of the absolute truth with monism. So the Mayavada philosophy is so strongly it is presented, trying to prove from all the Vedic literatures that this insignificant conditioned living entity, which is nothing, to be equal to the Supreme Lord, thus completely covering the glories of the Lord. And in the Vedanta Sutra, Vyasadeva has described that everything is a transformation of the energy of the Lord. But then Shankaracharya has commented that Vyasadeva did a mistake, and thus he raised a great opposition of theism throughout the entire world. In the Vedanta Sutras, you see, Vyasadeva explains about the qualities of Brahman, the characteristics of Brahman. And then in one place he says, Anandamayo Bhyasat. Anandamayo Bhyasat means the nature of Brahman is bliss, Ananda, Satchit Ananda, Ananda, Krishna. Enjoyment is a source of enjoyment. Brahman is enjoyment, source of enjoyment. But then, if Shankaracharya agrees to this philosophy that Brahman has got a quality, then his entire philosophy will be gone. So therefore, he wrote in the commentary, Vyasadeva did a mistake here in the commentary. So it's unbelievable that the followers of Shankaracharya accept this, that Vyasadeva, who is equal to Narayana, who is Achyuta, who never commits a mistake, has committed a mistake. And a commentator of the Vedanta Sutra is actually correcting and saying that, yes, you committed a mistake. So that is a funny thing. That's what, like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, it's unbelievable that somebody can, say that Vyasadeva did a mistake. And so it's complete misleading. And the theory of transformation of energy has been proposed by Shankaracharya. So transformation, I'll tell you what it means. Let us say that there is a flower. Flower transforms into a fruit. flower transforms into a fruit. That is one theory. Another theory is, or egg transforms into a chicken. That is one theory. Another theory is, there is a tree which is giving a lot of fruits. There is no transformation. There is a side effect. So just like, see, the material creation, the Leela of the material creation of the Vishnu is not transformation. You know what Shankaracharya said in his philosophy is in the Mayavad philosophy is that the Supreme Lord has transformed into the material world and he is no longer present now. He is only in the material world. But that's not the correct thing, because the correct thing is, just like a tree is present, a tree gives a lot of fruits. But because 10 fruits have come, the tree has not become something less now. The tree is the same. The tree is same. Just like there's a mother who gives birth to 2 children. After giving birth to 2 children doesn't mean that the mother has transformed into the children. Mother is still there. Is exactly the same. How she was there before, now also she's the same. Same weight, same qualities, same, everything is the same. Right? So, but then their philosophy is transformed. Everything has become transformed. He said this is completely wrong. This is an illusion. The Supreme Lord is the opulent in all respects, and he has transformed the material cosmic manifestation. So that is their theory. But the thing is, just like a touchstone can turn iron into gold, yet it remains the same. Similarly, Lord Krishna transforms his energies, but he remains unchanged. However, he is in Golok Vrindavan, he was Krishna before, he is Krishna, always is Krishna, is always there intact. There's no change in him that happens. So the touchstone, Chintamani, produces various valuable jewels and it remains the same. It does not change the original form. So therefore, how can Krishna, why should we not believe that Krishna can also do this? If normal Chintamani can do this, why not Krishna? And he says, the Mayavad philosophy says that the primary thing is the Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi. But the primary Vedic sound of the Vedas is Omkara, not the Mahavakyas. So therefore, he says it is the purpose of the Supreme Lord to present Pranava as a reservoir of Vedic knowledge. The word Tattvamasi are only a partial explanation of the Vedic knowledge. So they stress on Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, and all the 4 Mahavakyas. They stress on that too much, saying that this is the conclusion of the Vedas. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, it is not the conclusion of the Vedas. The proper representative of the Vedas is Pranava. Krishna says, I am the Pranava among the Vedas. So that's wrong. He says, not the Mahavakyas. Actually, they are stressing the Mahavakya in the Vedas. Shankaracharya follows covered to stress the authority of the Mahamantra, the mantra Tattvamasi. Without authority, they are simply stressing Tattvamasi. Okay, so that's what happened. Okay. And in all the Vedic sutras, it is Krishna who is to be understood. But then the followers of Shankaracharya have covered the real meaning of the Vedas with indirect explanations. Okay, so yeah. So ultimately, yeah, so that's what happens. And ultimately, the Mayawadi Sannyasis, they accept that, I'm sorry, we are sorry that, we had to, you have given a perfect understanding and we accept defeat. They accept the defeat then. Okay. So that's what happens. Yeah. So I think we'll continue. We'll not be able to continue now. I have to take an urgent call. I'm sorry.